Good day, students. I come again to record another video on the creditors control journal entries. So this is based on creditors control, and what I will be looking at in the creditors control, it is to correct the mistakes that can be done in the books of our business when we buy inventory, return inventory, given a discount, and we pay our creditor. So these are the 12 possible errors or mistakes that are likely to be made by the business. They are not limited to this 12. In total, there are 24, or there's 24 of them. But I only bring to your attention now only the 12. Probably later on I'll record another video to the other 8 that are still left to make it complete 24. Then now we go now to the information provided. It says that ABC Traders buys their raw material on credit from XYZ Pty Ltd. Then it says, after investigation of the creditors ledger, ABC or creditors ledger account and the statement received from the creditor, the following errors were ascertained in the books of ABC Traders. So now these are the errors that were identified in the books of ABC Traders. Please note that ABC Traders buy their inventory from XYZ Pty Ltd. So XYZ Pty Ltd becomes our creditor, whom we buy inventory on credit from. And now let me go to what is required. We are now required only to do general entries to correct all the above errors done in the books or by the books of ABC Traders. So now we are just doing the general entries, only the general entries. And in doing these general entries, then we will have to go in each of them one by one. Then let us go to the general entries, beginning with the first one. And I want to take note of the fact that I will be doing 4 journal entries, but in 3 different ways. First of all, it will be inventory that is acquired. It will then be inventory that is returned. The third one, it will be a discount that we have received. And the last one, it will be a payment to our creditor. So I will be focusing on these 4 items that affect my creditor, but each of them I'll provide 3 journal entries. So now let us look at number 1. Number 1 says that inventory acquired on credit for 1,420 was incorrectly recorded as 1,240 in the books of ABC Traders. Then the accountant of ABC Traders agreed to correct the error. So now that means they will have to identify how much was recorded first of all. This is the amount that was recorded. They incorrectly recorded as, or was correctly recorded as 1,240 instead of 1,420. So the amount recorded was underestimated. So now if it's underestimated, we first have to record what was done. Remember, this was a purchase of inventory. And if we buy inventory, we increase inventory on the debit side. So now they said debit inventory, then after they said credit the creditor, and the amount is 1,240. Remember, the correct amount is 1,420. This is the correct amount, 1,420 rands. So now we can see that what is recorded is underestimated. So the minute what is recorded is underestimated, then the difference will have to be increasing our elements. 1,240 minus 1,420, it gives us 180 rands. So now that means we have to increase our inventory by 180 because our inventory was underestimated. We also have to increase our creditor by 180. So now the correcting entry will be to record 180 on the same site it was initially recorded, because that is how the entries looked like when they were recorded. So now, because inventory was underestimated and the creditor was underestimated, therefore now that means we have to increase both of them. And these are the general journal or the general entries that we are recording. The first one, as I said, that we increase our inventory because our inventory was underestimated. We recorded the smaller amount and this will be increased by 180. Then after we increase our creditor, which was also underestimated, and our creditor is XYZ Pty Ltd by the same amount of 180. Then this will be the first entry, which is entry number 1. Now entry number 1 says that we have to correct it like that. Then we go to number 2. Then number 2 say that inventory that was acquired again is another purchase, and it was bought on credit for an amount of 1,240. So this was the value of the inventory, but it was incorrectly recorded as 1,420 in the books of ABC traders. So now this is what was recorded, and if this is what was recorded, it means the amount recorded was more than what was supposed to be, because they incorrectly recorded 1,420. So now, meaning our inventory is overstated and also our creditor is overstated. So now inventory overstated must be cancelled on the credit side. So now when they recorded, they said debit inventory. We first have to record what they did. They said 1,420. Then after they credited the creditor by the same amount, 1,420. So we can see that our inventory is overstated. They recorded more than it was supposed to be. And also they recorded more amount of the creditor than it was supposed to be. Meaning we have to decrease our inventory by an amount of 180, and we also have to decrease inventory by creditor by an amount of 180. And we know that inventory is an asset, and assets decrease on the debit side. And we know that creditor is a liability, and liabilities decrease on the credit on the debit side. So inventory is an asset, it decreases on the credit side. In fact, sorry for that, inventory decreases on the credit side, and creditor being a liability decreases on the debit side. So now we'll just do the opposite of what was done, because we are reducing this amount and we are also reducing this amount by the same amount of 180. So now it will just be the opposite of the first entry. We have our creditor XYZ Pty Ltd, and this will be an amount of 180 rands, because remember this was overstated. They initially recorded more amount of the creditor and more amount of the inventory than it was supposed to be. So now that will be how we record or we correct this entry. Then now we go to the third entry. Third entry says inventory that was acquired. Once again, inventory was bought. Inventory bought on credit for 4,100 was not recorded in the books of ABC traders by mistake, although this appear in the monthly statement. So now in this case, this inventory of 4.1 was completely not recorded. So the minute it is not recorded, we just have to record the inventory because it was not recorded. And recording the inventory will be debiting inventory. Remember, it's inventory that we bought, 4,100, and we increase our creditor because it was bought on credit, XYZ Pty Ltd, and this is 4,100 rands. So now that was entry number 3 with regard to the recording of the mistake which can be done in the recordings of inventory. Then we go to number 4 and see what number 4 has installed for us. Then number 4 says that we acquired, or there is inventory that we return, no longer acquire now. Inventory that was returned by ABC traders to their supplier amounting to 510. This is the correct amount of the inventory return. Was incorrectly recorded as 150. So this is what has been recorded. So now let us check how did they record. We know that if we return inventory, it will reduce our creditor on the debit side. So now they would have said debit the creditor 150. Then after credit inventory, because inventory was returned, and if we return inventory, we are decreasing our inventory because we are giving inventory back to the supplier. So now we record it like this. This is how they recorded the 150, which they recorded as that 150. So now we can see that the correct amount is 510, meaning our debit side, meaning our creditor is underestimated, and at the same time our credit side being inventory is also underestimated. So now 510 minus 150. Why am I saying underestimated? Because they recorded the smaller amount than it was supposed to be. The correct amount is 510 rands. So now meaning we're supposed to increase our creditor by 360, and also we're supposed to increase our inventory by 360. Remember, if the entry is underestimated, you don't change the way it was recorded in the beginning. You just increase the figures as in the same way it was recorded because it was underestimated. So this will be the correct entry, where now we increase our where we reduce our credit and we reduce more of our inventory. Remember, creditors decrease on the debit side. So when you say debit creditor XYZ PTY Ltd, we are reducing our creditor very much by 360. Then after we reduce our inventory more because it was under reduced by 150. So now we are reducing our inventory more by 360 rands. Then now we go to entry number 5. Entry number 5 is again another return of inventory. It says inventory returned by ABC traders amounting to 510 rands. So now this is the correct amount of returned inventory that was supposed to be, but was incorrectly recorded as how much? As 510. So the right amount, sorry, is 150, which is the right amount, but we recorded 510. So we recorded an amount more than it was supposed to be. We recorded 510 instead of 150 by mistake. So now remember once again how to record a return. So now they would have said credit 510 rand, inventory 510 rand. This is what they have done. But we realize that the amount of 510 is more than it was supposed to be. So now meaning we have to do the opposite of what was done, where now we say our creditor was over decreased, because remember, by recording a creditor on the debit side, you are decreasing the creditor. So our creditor was over decreased, and also our inventory was over decreased because inventory decreases on the credit side, but the amount recorded was more than what was supposed to be. So now that means the right amount now will have to increase our inventory because it was over decreased. So we have to say debit inventory by 360, and we credit our creditor by the same amount of 360. So now this will be the correct entry. This is the mistake they have done. So now we are correcting it here. So now we debit our inventory. It is just the opposite of the previous entry. We debit our inventory by an amount of 360, and we credit our creditor by an amount of 360, XYZ PTY Ltd. Then we go to number 6. And number 6 is the return that was just not recorded. Number 6 say that inventory returned by ABC traders amounting to how much? 380 is the amount, and was mistakenly not recorded in the books of ABC traders, although the amount appear on the monthly statement received from XYZ Pty Ltd. So now we just have to record the inventory that was returned, which by mistake was not recorded. It was just by mistake not recorded. So now we go and we record this, and we know that if we return inventory, our creditor will decrease because we are returning inventory. XYZ Pty Ltd. We are reducing how much we owe to our creditor. 308 is the amount. Because inventory is returned or inventory is given back to the creditor, so now we have decreased our inventory and given that inventory back to our creditor. So now let us proceed on that same note. And we go to number 7. And number 7 now is another entry. Another element. Number 7 is a discount. And it says in number 7, a discount received from XYZ Pty Ltd for how much? 100 rand. So the right amount of the discount is 100 rand. It was mistakenly recorded as 10 rand in the books of ABC traders. The accountant also agreed to correct the entry. Now we need to know how was the 10 rand, and we can identify by now that the amount recorded is underestimated. It's less than the amount it was supposed to be, which is 100 rand. We only recorded 10 rand. So now if we can know how the discount is recorded, then it will be easy for us to correct it, because we just have to increase what was done in the beginning. So they recorded by saying creditor 10 rand. Then they said interest income. Remember, discount is called interest income these days. It's no longer written as discount. So now they recorded 10 rand and they recorded 10 rand. And the minute an entry is understated, you don't change the entry. You just increase that entry. So now that means we're supposed to have decreased our creditor by more, which is 100 rand, but we only decreased it by only 10 rand. So now it means we just have to adjust it by 90 rand. We just have to adjust it by 90 rand. So now this will be the correct entry to record. Recording 90 rand on the debit side, where we debit our creditor and increase our interest income. Remember, interest income, they initially increased it by 10 rand, of which it was supposed to be increased by 100 rand. So now hence we only add the 10 rand. So now we are now going to be recording this entry in the records. Then let us go and we record our entry or our correcting entry. Then we say this is number 7. This is number 7. Number 7, we say we debit our creditor. And our creditor is XYZ Pty Ltd. Then after we increase our interest income, which is discount received. Interest income, this is discount received, but we call it interest income. That is the latest term. Now we have recorded number 7 and we go to entry number 8. Let us see what entry number 8 has in store for us. Then entry number 8 says that we have a discount that was again received, and this discount was received from our creditor XYZ Pty Ltd, and the discount amounted to 100 rand, but it was mistakenly or incorrectly recorded in the books of ABC traders as 1,000 rand. we recorded an amount more than what was supposed to be. So now we have to do the reversal, or we cancel the entry. So now when they recorded a discount, we need first to record what they did. They said debit a creditor by 1,000 rand, credit interest income, which is a discount, by 1,000 rand. This is what they did. So now our creditor was overstated, meaning they have reduced our creditor by an amount more than what it was supposed to be. Remember, our creditor decreases on the debit side. They're supposed to have decreased the creditor by 100 rand, but they decreased the creditor by 1,000 rand. So now we need to increase our creditor by an amount of 900 rands. So now meaning we just have to record the reverse entry, cancelling what was done or what was overstated. So now the correct entry will be recording interest income. Remember, interest income is an income. So now our income was over increased by 900. We need to reduce that income by 900 so that it becomes 100 rand. And also this will be the correct entry to record. This is the mistake they have done. So now let us go and we correct the error by recording interest income, which is a discount of an amount of 900 rands. Then after we credit our creditor, where we are increasing because it was over decreased by an amount of 900. Then we have XYZ Pty Ltd being our creditor. Then let us go to entry number 9, which is almost approaching the end. These are very important journal entries, easy to master at the same time. Then now we have entry number 9, and entry number 9 says that a discount received from our supplier XYZ Pty Ltd amounting to 120 was not recorded in the books of ABC Traders at all. So now this discount was not recorded, and they say the discount does appear in the monthly statement. So now meaning this 120 must just be recorded as a discount that was granted to us. So now we know that a discount will reduce our creditor, which is XYZ Pty Ltd. Then after we credit our discount, which is interest income, because it was not recorded, and the amount is 120 rand, and the amount is 120 rands. So now we have recorded all these entries up to so far number 9. And let me now record the last 3, 10, 11, 12, the last 3, which is number 10, number 11, and number 12. So let me go to 10, 11, and 12. Number 10 says that a check payment to XYZ Pty Ltd. Here we are making a payment in the form of the check. I think these days we can say an EFT payment because we normally use EFTs. For an amount of 2,010 rand, 2010, was incorrectly recorded as 2,100 rands. So now this is what we recorded. We recorded more than it was supposed to be. Let us check how was this entry recorded first. Remember, this is a payment. So when we pay our creditor will decrease on the debit side. So we would have said 2,100 and said credit our bank because this is a payment in the form of cash. Therefore, now this will be 2,100. And we say the correct amount is supposed to be 2,010, not 2,100. So now that means our creditor has been over decreased. and also our bank has been over decreased. Remember, the amount recorded is overstated, and the minute the amount recorded is overstated, you must do the opposite entry from what was initially done. So now the opposite entry will be debiting bank, because our bank was over decreased, so we need to increase it by the difference. Then after, we credit our creditor by the difference between the two figures. Let us check the difference. It is 2,100 minus 2,010, meaning the amount that needs to be adjusted is only 90 rand. We only need to adjust 90 rand. So now this is the right entry, this is the incorrect entry that they recorded in terms of figures. So now let us go and we record, or we correct the entry, which is number 10, and under number 10 we say debit our number 10, we debit our bank, and we debit our bank account by an amount of 90 rand. Then after, we credit our creditor, and our creditor is XYZ Pty Ltd by an amount of 90 rand. And we know where this is coming from, exactly from here. This is the wrong figure they did. So now we had to do the reverse of what they did, or cancel what they did, or adjust what they did. Then number 11 says now that a check payment of or to XYZ Pty Ltd for how much? 2.1. So now this is the correct amount that we were paying, was incorrectly recorded as 2,010. So now we recorded the smaller amount. Then how did we record? Let us first record what was recorded. We first recorded the smaller amount by saying debit creditor 2010, and we said credit 2010 our bank. So this is what was done. Then the minute what was recorded is smaller than what was supposed to be, you don't change your journal entries. You just adjust your journal entries in terms of the figures, increase the amounts that were recorded. So in this case, we just have to add 10 rand. That's all that we need. Well, we just have to increase 90 rand, in fact, not 10 rand. We just have to increase by 90 rand because our creditor was under reduced and our bank was under reduced. Remember, a creditor decreases on the debit side. So now we decreased our creditor by 2010 instead of 2,100. So now we need to say plus 90 rand here so that it becomes 2,100. Similarly with the bank, we decreased our bank by 210 instead of 2,100. So now we needed to add 90 rand so that it becomes 2.9 or 2.1 in fact. So now we keep the same entry, but we only record the adjustment of 90 rand. So now we keep that entry as it is, debit our creditor because it was understated. We record our creditor on the debit side and we reduce our bank on the credit side by an amount of 90 rand. By an amount of 90 rand, creditor, we reduce that on the debit side, XYZ Pty Ltd. So that will be the entry. Let's go to the last entry, number 12. Now the last entry, which is entry number 12, it says that a check payment to XYZ Pty Ltd for 200 was mistakenly not recorded in the books of ABC traders, although the payment appear on the monthly statement received. So now we made a payment but we just forgot to record it. It's just a human error. We completely forgot. Maybe the invoice was there, but by mistake, the bookkeeper or the accountant forgot to record this amount of the payment, in fact, to our creditor. So now we just have to record this payment of 200 rands, which was supposed to be recorded. Then we debit our creditor, which is XYZ Pty Ltd. And this is an amount of 200 rands. Then after we reduce our bank, because when we make a payment, bank will decrease on the credit side. So now I have taken into consideration all these entries that are very crucial for you to master with regard to the topic of creditors control, because it falls under that topic. I will probably later on do other journal entries where now we can record a purchase on the wrong side. Maybe the right amount on the wrong side or the wrong amount on the wrong side. And similarly with the return, right amount or wrong amount but on the wrong side. And also a discount being the right amount on the wrong side, or a discount of the wrong amount on the wrong side. How do we correct that? And also where we make a payment but we record the payment on the wrong side and the amount is right, or a payment of the right amount on the wrong side. So now just have all those thoughts in mind that will come to the next video. I do not want to bombard you with all these journal entries yet, because those ones are a bit more of at an advanced level. Let me say thank you. God bless you.